It was a moonless night in the small village of Garb, a place shunned by time. Houses stood crooked, their walls blackened with age. Locals whispered about the abandoned well on the outskirts, a circular pit of despair that nobody dared approach. Some said it was cursed, that the chains clanging from its depths belonged to a tormented soul imprisoned centuries ago. Rahil, a young skeptic, laughed at these tales. "Old superstitions," he muttered, tightening his jacket as he made his way to the well. The cold wind seemed to whisper his name.
The well loomed ahead, surrounded by gnarled trees. A thin mist curled along the ground. Rahil's flashlight revealed faint scratches on the well's edge, like claw marks. Suddenly, a cold breeze blew out the flame of his lantern. In that darkness, he thought he heard faint clanking, metal chains swaying, though no wind stirred. His heart raced, but he convinced himself it was his imagination. At exactly 3 a.m., the air turned icy. Rahil leaned over the well, peering into the darkness. A low, mournful sound echoed up, chains dragging, scraping against stone. He froze. Shadows moved beneath the water, indistinct but human in shape. A voice, hoarse and distant, whispered, "Help me." Rahil stumbled back, tripping over a stone. Panic gripped him. He turned to flee, but found the path behind him shrouded in mist, twisting unnaturally. The village seemed gone, replaced by a spectral haze. Desperate for answers, Rahil examined the ground around the well. Strange symbols were etched into the soil, circles, inverted crosses, and chains intertwined with human shapes. He realized these weren't random. They were centuries-old warnings. A sudden gust of wind revealed a figure across the field, a woman in tattered white, chains dangling from her wrists, floating just above the ground. She vanished as quickly as she appeared, leaving behind a chilling echo of metal against stone. Rahil tried to run, but shadows twisted and turned around him, forming grotesque shapes. The chains clanking grew louder, now surrounding him from all sides. He heard whispers, a chorus of tormented souls trapped within the well. "Join us! Join us!" A cold hand brushed his shoulder, and he realized with horror that he wasn't alone. Something unseen followed his every step, waiting for the right moment to strike. Back in his home, trembling and soaked with sweat, Rahil discovered an old journal tucked beneath the attic floorboards. Its pages described the well's dark history. A villager had been accused of witchcraft centuries ago, chained and thrown into the well. The curse stated that anyone who dared near the well at 3 a.m. would hear the chains and be drawn into the shadow world, joining the tortured spirits. Rahil's eyes widened as he read. The curse could only be broken if the chained spirit was freed by dawn. Rahil knew he had no choice. The ghostly chains would haunt him until he acted. Grabbing a lantern, a rope, and the courage he didn't feel, he stepped back toward the well. The mist rose thicker than before, and the sound of chains began again. Something in his gut told him this night would not end without a confrontation. His shadow stretched long over the field, mingling with otherworldly shapes, as he whispered to himself, "I have to face it. I have to free her." Rahil approached the well, lantern in hand. The chains rattled, a deafening metallic sound echoing from the depths. Peering inside, he saw her, the chained woman, eyes hollow and glowing faintly blue, submerged in shadows. The water around her shimmered with spectral energy. He tied the rope securely, took a deep breath, and descended. The cold water reached his chest, then his chin, and he realized the chains were dragging her spirit upward, resisting him.
The ghost reached for him, her icy hands grazing his arm. Her whispers were frantic, fragmented. "The chains! The chains! Break them!" Rahil struggled to untangle the spectral chains, each link burning his hands as if made from frozen iron. Every strike of the chains sent shockwaves of energy that rattled his bones. Outside the well, the wind howled like 1,000 voices crying in unison.
Suddenly, Rahil's mind was flooded with visions. He saw the witch's trial centuries ago, the villagers screaming, the chains tightening around her wrists, the fall into the well. The injustice, the pain, the betrayal, it all became tangible. Rahil realized the chains were not just metal. They were powered by hatred, fear, and centuries of suffering. Freeing her meant confronting the weight of history itself.
Rahil summoned every ounce of strength and focused on the chains. With a shout, the first spectral link shattered, releasing a burst of icy wind. The ghost screamed, a sound both terrifying and sorrowful. Shadows swirled violently, and Rahil was almost thrown off balance. But the breaking of the first link seemed to weaken the curse. The water glowed, reflecting both terror and hope in equal measure. As Rahil fought the final links, the chains lashed out like serpents. Every strike cut through his clothes, bruised his skin, but he refused to let go. The ghost's voice became clearer, almost pleading. "Rahil, free me!" The clock outside the village struck 4 a.m. Dawn was approaching, and the curse would tighten forever if the final link wasn't broken. With one final pull, he tore the last chain apart, and a blinding white light erupted from the well. The woman's ghost floated upward, free at last. Her face softened, no longer twisted in torment. She whispered a single word, "Thank you," before vanishing into the first rays of sunlight. The well, once black and cursed, was now calm. The clanking of chains had stopped entirely. Rahil collapsed at the edge, exhausted but alive. The village slowly emerged from the mist, the air lighter, almost as if a century-long nightmare had ended. Rahil returned home, forever changed.
Though the chains were gone, he knew the world held more secrets, more shadows than anyone dared imagine. The well remained, but it was no longer a prison. It was a warning. Rahil's courage had freed a tortured soul, yet the whisper of chains sometimes returned in dreams, a reminder that the supernatural world never truly sleeps. He smiled grimly, lighting a lantern as night fell. Some secrets are terrifying, but facing them might be the only way to survive.